the safety and the well-being of our teams and contractors, as well as the people in our care.
Well, that's a relief.
Several hundred migrants were relocated to Manston yesterday to ensure their safety. Western Jetfoil is now fully operational again. I can also inform the House that my right honourable friend, the Minister for Immigration, visited the Manston site yesterday, and that I will visit shortly. My right honourable friend was reassured by the dedication of staff as they work to make this site safe and secure while suitable onward accommodation is found. As members will be aware, we need to meet our statutory duties around detention and also fulfil legal
processing
duties to provide accommodation for those who would otherwise be destitute. We also have a duty to the wider public to ensure that anyone who has entered our country illegally undergoes essential security checks and is not immediately free to wander around local communities with no fixed abode.
Perfectly reasonable.
When we face so many arrivals so quickly, it is practically impossible to procure over 1,000 beds at such short notice. Consequently, we have recently expanded the site and are working tirelessly to improve facilities.
No, you're not.
There are, of course, competing and heavy demands on housing stock, including for Ukrainians, Afghans, and social housing. We are negotiating with accommodation providers. I continue to look at all available options to overcome the challenges we face with supply. This is an urgent matter, Madam Deputy Speaker, which I will continue to oversee personally. I will now turn to our immigration and asylum system more widely. Let me be clear. This is a global migration crisis.
This is where we're going to get the rhetoric.
We have seen an unprecedented number of attempts to illegally cross the channel in small boats. Some 40,000 people have crossed this year alone, more than double the number of arrivals by the same point last year.
True.
Not only is it unnecessary, because many have come from another safe country, it is lethally dangerous. We must stop it.
True.
It is vital that we dismantle the international crime gangs behind this phenomenon.
True.
Cooperation with the French has stopped over 29,000 illegal crossings since the start of the year, twice as many as last year, and destroyed over 1,000 boats. And our UK-France Joint Intelligence Cell has dismantled 55 organised crime groups since it was established in 2020. The National Crime Agency is at the forefront of this fight. Indeed, NCA officers recently joined what is believed to be the biggest ever international operation targeting smuggling networks. This year has seen a surge in the number of Albanian arrivals, Madam Deputy Speaker. Many of them, I'm afraid to say, abusing our modern slavery laws.
Absolutely.
We are working to ensure Albanian cases are processed and individuals are removed as swiftly as possible.
Actually, you are working with Edi Rama, the Albanian Prime Minister.
Will further disrupt the business model of the smuggling gangs and deter migrants from putting their lives at risk. I'm committed to making that partnership work. Labour want to cancel it. While we will continue to support the vulnerable via safe and legal routes, people coming here illegally from safe countries are not welcome.
No, this is a very, very
stay.
Nasty piece of rhetoric.
Where it is necessary to change the law, we will not hesitate to do so.
Yeah, you have to be very careful. It's international.
I share the sentiment that has been expressed by members from across the House who want to see cases in the UK dealt with swiftly.
Yep. At the moment, you're dealing with about 1.3 cases a week.
Bring down the backlog. It is already having an impact.
Not much.
A pilot in Leeds reduced interview times by over a third and has seen productivity almost double. We are also determined to address the wholly unacceptable situation, which has left taxpayers with a bill of £6.8 million a day.
But that's because you're not processing
for hotel
people.
Accommodation. And let me set out to the House a situation that I found when I arrived as Home Secretary in September at the Home Office. I was appalled to learn that there were over 35,000 migrants staying in hotel accommodation around the country.
Because you've not got enough people processing the paperwork.
I instigated an urgent review.
Not enough. You need to employ people.
Home Secretary.
I pushed officials to identify accommodation options which would be more cost-effective and delivered swiftly while meeting our legal obligations to migrants.
These apparently were
I've
tents.
held regular operational meetings with frontline officials and have been energetically seeking alternative sites. But I have to be honest.
By using your private email.
And there are many hurdles. I foresaw the concerns at Manston in September.
No, you didn't.
And deployed additional resource and personnel to deliver a rapid increase
you did nothing
in
when you went
accommodation. To be clear, like the majority of the British people, I am very concerned about hotels, but I've never blocked their usage. Indeed, since I took over, 12,000 people have arrived, 9,500 people have been transferred out of Manston or Western Jetfoil, many of them into hotels.
This is dealing with an issue that apparently on the 19th.
As a former Attorney General, I know the importance of taking legal advice into account. At every point,
but she is apparently
at every point, Madam Deputy Speaker,
alleged to have ignored
to
legal
find
advice.
Alternative accommodation to relieve the pressure at Manston. What I have refused to do is to prematurely release thousands of people into local communities without having anywhere for them to stay.
Then you have to have more people processing them.
Madam Deputy Speaker, that would be the worst thing to do.
I agree.
For the local community in Kent, for the safety of those under our care, and for the integrity of our borders. The government is resolute in our determination to make illegal entry to the UK unviable. It is unnecessary, lethally dangerous, unfair on migrants who play by the rules, and unfair on the law-abiding, patriotic majority of British people. It is also ruinously expensive, and it makes all of us less safe. Madam Deputy Speaker, as Home Secretary, I have a plan to bring about the change that is so urgently needed to deliver an immigration system that works in the interests of the British people. And I commend this statement to the House.
Not a very evasive statement.
Shadow Home Secretary Yvette Cooper.
Let's see what she's got to say. She's been very critical.
Madam Deputy Speaker, and I thank the Home Secretary for her statement. Yesterday's petrol bomb attack on the Western Jetfoil Centre was truly appalling. I'm sure the whole House will condemn it in the strongest possible terms.
Absolutely.
And I echo the Home Secretary's tribute to the emergency services and Border Force staff who responded. But I must ask her, can she tell me whether counter-terror police and counter-extremism units are involved in the investigation? It doesn't make sense for them not to be.
Exactly.
Why are they not? Turning to the dreadful conditions at Manston, 4,000 people are now on a site designed to accommodate 1,600 people, with some families there for weeks. Conditions that have been described as inhumane, with risks of fire, disorder and infection. There are confirmed diphtheria outbreaks, reports of scabies and MRSA outbreaks. Also reports of outbreaks of violence and untrained staff. She said nothing about what she was doing.
Not only untrained staff there, but untrained staff. Untrained staff processing applications as well.
The government's policies on asylum and channel crossings. Decision-making has collapsed. The Home Office took just 14,000 initial asylum decisions in the last 12 months, compared to 28,000 6 years ago. 96% of the small boat arrivals last year have still not had a decision.
Exactly.
And initial decisions alone are taking more than 400 days on this Conservative government's watch.
500 days for a child.
That the Nationalities Borders Bill and changes to immigration rules have in fact added further bureaucracy and delays, leading to tens of thousands more people waiting in asylum accommodation and more than £100 million extra on asylum accommodation bills, because their policies are pushing up the use of hotels and the increase in delays. There's also been a total failure to prevent a huge proliferation of gangs in the Channel. Why has the Home Secretary refused our calls for a major new National Crime Agency unit with hundreds of additional specialist officers to work with Europol and others to crack down on the gangs, as well as the urgent work needed with France to get a proper agreement in place? And can she also confirm on the Rwanda plan that she has spent an extra £20 million on top of the £120 million already spent on a policy that she has herself described as failing and that her officials have described as unenforceable and with a high risk of fraud? And isn't it now time to drop this unethical and unworkable scheme and put the money into tackling the backlogs and tackling the criminal gangs instead? And let me ask her about her own decisions, which are there are very serious allegations now being reported that the Home Secretary was warned by officials and other ministers she was acting outside the law by failing to provide alternative accommodation. Can she confirm that she turned down contingency plans that she was offered that would have reduced overcrowding, as the reports say? There are also legal obligations, including under the 1999 Act and the 2018 regulations. Can she confirm she was advised repeatedly that she was breaking the law by failing to agree to these plans? One of these meetings on Manston was on the 19th of October. Can she confirm she refused these proposals on that date? It was the same day that she broke sections 2.3 and sections 1.4 of the Ministerial Code. So can she confirm, or can she tell us whether in fact she breached the Ministerial Code, which provides for ministers abiding by the law? Did she breach the Ministerial Code
3 times at least?
3 times
yes.
In a single day? And how is anyone supposed to have confidence in her as a Home Secretary?
Absolutely.
These serious issues. She referred in her statement to security checks. These are very important, but her statement is undermined by her own disregard for